Today we will start a new lesson, rational numbers. You will know how rational numbers are the numbers of everyday arithmetic and why are they called rational. So let us start the lesson. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to distinguish between natural numbers, whole numbers and integers. After that, define rational numbers. Learn the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division of rational numbers. Discuss the role of 0 and 1 for rational numbers. Explain the additive inverse and multiplicative inverse of rational numbers. And finally, find rational numbers between any two given rational numbers. Okay, so first of all, we will start with the basics that we have studied till now. So the question arises, why do we need numbers? Numbers are needed because they help us to organize and understand the world around us. They allow us to count and measure things, which is important for tasks such as cooking, shopping, building, etc. etc. Like if I ask you, how many apples are there? You would say 3. And if I ask, how many pears do you see on the screen? There are 4 pears. So we can say that numbers also help us to do math, which is important for many things, such as solving problems, making predictions, and understanding patterns. Numbers are also used in many other areas, such as science, engineering, finance. In short, numbers are a universal language that allows us to communicate, understand, and make sense of the world around us. This brings to our next topic. What are natural numbers? So first thing is natural numbers are represented by n. So natural numbers are the numbers we use to count things. They are called counting numbers because we use them to count things like apples, cars and toys, etc. They are the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. They are different from numbers like fractions or decimals, which are used for more specific type of math. Natural numbers are very important in everyday life because we use them to count and measure things all the time. Okay, so after the natural numbers, we will talk about what are the whole numbers. Okay, so whole numbers are a subset of the natural numbers and include only numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Whole numbers are also sometimes called non-negative numbers. Whole numbers are used to count things. Whole numbers are important in everyday life because they are used in many everyday situations where quantities are involved, such as counting money, measuring time, and counting items in a grocery list. The main difference between natural and whole numbers is that whole numbers has an extra 0 digit, which accounts for empty or a vacancy of something. Afterwards, negative numbers were invented. So now you may ask, why do we need negative numbers? Negative numbers are needed because they help us to represent values that are less than 0. For example, if you have minus 5 apples, it means you have lost 5 apples. Without negative numbers, it would be difficult to represent such values and to solve problems involving them. Negative numbers are also used in many areas of mathematics such as algebra, where they can be used to represent the opposite of a positive number. In geometry, where they can be used to represent direction and positions. In addition to this, negative numbers also help us to understand concepts such as depth or loss or temperature below zero, which are important in our daily lives. They also help to balance equations and to solve problems involving subtraction and other mathematical operations. Negative numbers are a key part of the number system, and their use allows us to represent and understand a wider range of values and quantities. This concept of negative numbers introduced the terms integers. Integers are a set of numbers that include the natural numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 0 and negative numbers like minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, etc. In other words, integers are the set of whole numbers and their opposite. They are often represented by the symbol z. They can be positive, negative, or zero. Integers are used to represent quantities that can be whole and negative. Integers are important in many areas of mathematics, such as algebra, number theory, and geometry, where they are used to represent quantities such as distance, temperature, money, and as we discussed in the previous example. When the integers are not able to solve all the problems and we needed a more precise form to represent data, fractions and decimals were discovered. Fractions and decimals are both types of numbers that are used to represent quantities that are not whole numbers. A fraction is a number that represents a part of a whole. It is written as two numbers separated by a slash called the numerator and denominator. The numerator represents the number of parts you have and the denominator represents the total number of parts in the whole. For example, 1 by 2 is a fraction that represents one half of a whole. Decimals, on the other hand, are a way to represent fractions with a denominator of 10, 100, 1000, and so on. A decimal is a number written with a dot that separates the whole number part from the fractional part. For example, 0.5 is the same as the fraction 1 by 2, or 0.25 is the same as the fraction as 1 by 4, and so on. In summary, fractions and decimals are both type of numbers that are used to represent quantities that are not whole numbers. While fractions represent parts of a whole, decimals represent the same thing but in a different format. Now, after knowing all that basic stuff, we will move forward to the rational numbers. Rational numbers are a subset of the real numbers, which includes all numbers that can be expressed as the ratio of two integers. In other words, a rational number is a number that can be written in the form of a fraction, where the numerator and denominator are both integers. Example of rational numbers include any integer such as 3, minus 5, or 0, any common fraction such as 1 by 2, 3 by 4, or minus 5 by 6, any decimal that can be written as a finite decimal or a repeating decimal such as 0.75 or 0.666666.